Hello Forest family, I'm back out in the woods today. It's a beautiful day here in Ireland. It's cold, it's fresh. I'm out walking. You have to forgive me. It's been a long time since I got to build up a nice blood flow, so I'm just smashing the trails here, trying to get to camp as quick as I can. Got the new hunter's cowl from So Betsy, absolutely beast. You can check out the Yorkshire wool shirt on Instagram. They make amazing products, and this one here is nice because it's in this like chocolate licorice kind of vibe, but on the inside the reason why it's the hunter's cowl, it has this rim fire orange, and it is shooting season over here, so I got it on, tucked in. It's nice warm, nice thick 100% wool, and I'm out strolling with it. The reason why I'm out today is I got a couple of videos to make, but in particular I got a video to make for my good friend Ville, Outdoor Nordic on Instagram, and he's on the Living to Learn community and a great guy and worth to follow. But in a conversation that we were having, oh excuse me, he asked me about the medium pouch that people see me carry on the front of my Savoda, and in that is my shelter system. And I've never talked a great deal about my shelter system, just because it's nothing new under the sun. But then that's what the Living to Learn community and the Living to Learn channel is all about. So I'm going to get to camp as quick as I can and make that video and talk about what's in that pouch, why I carry what's in that pouch and my methodology behind it, and hopefully it gives Ville some ideas, and hopefully it gives you guys some ideas. So let me pound in these last kilometers, and I'll be back to you in a sec. Right. Found me a nice sitting stump. No need for this kind of tabletop kind of vibe. Let me get the shades off. Shout out to Nordfolk for the Ballon shades. They're an absolute beast. Great guy in the mountains. Nice and lightweight. So I thought I'd just shoot this on the fly. This is how I used to do my videos, so it's a nice one to chill down. Hey, let me tip up. So everybody would know the main components to shelter. You want something to sleep in, something to sleep on, and something to sleep under. Once you recognize those terms, you're kind of free to experiment and navigate around what you do, and being outside is a constant learning process, and you see that reflected in the way people purchase kit. And it's not something to be to kind of poo-poo, because anytime I see somebody looking to change kit, buy kit, ask kit, chances are when you dig deeper it's because they've got a new piece of knowledge. People buy a tent thinking it's the best tent, they try that tent out, the tent isn't the best tent. Well, then they've learned something new, and then they try and fix it. Same with tarps, knives, all that kind of stuff. And of course it's fun, it's what we like to do outside. But you know, you might start off fixing cars as a hobby, using tools that you just got in Walmart, but then maybe you start taking it a bit more serious, start fixing a bit bigger problems, so you need better tools. So it's always the way to go. So I just got my backpack here. I'm just going to pull out my shelter system. I always keep it on the top, so I just got to get a hold of it. There we go. So there it is. That's my shelter system. It's my Savoda medium pouch. I'm using the Ackery S today, and the Ackery S, not yes, Joe. And normally I sit the pouch on the front here if I'm using the medium and stuff. But I like the idea of keeping it in this pouch. It's a fairly substantial pouch. It's got molly on the back. The thing is tougher than my self-confidence, so it's a nice one to carry. And it's just the right size. So I set myself the challenge that this would be cool if I could get a decent shelter system in, not something that I would spend 3 or 4 days with, but just something that would be the basic core of what I do and could keep me kind of comfortable. And then of course, being a molly pouch, it doesn't have to be a Savoda pouch, but being a molly pouch, I'm able to just clip it to the bags and stuff like that. On the outside, being a shelter system and being sitting outside my backpack, and that's why I like to have my shelter system outside my bag, is because then I don't have to open my bag when the weather's bad. I don't have to root around and even do stuff like that. I can just unzip it, take it out and get it set up, and if you have the skills to set it up fast, well then your quid's in. So on the outside I have these cool things, these little glow tags. Great if you're looking for something for a stocking filler, or just maybe a very cheap way to improve your kit. They're from Polymath Products, not sponsored. They're about €5 on Amazon for a pack of like 5 or 6, and I put them on knives and everything else. And I have a tendency, especially when it gets dark in the forest or if I'm teaching, to put stuff down, and everything that I carry is black most of the time. You know, it just seems to be the color that people like to send me. So having these glow tags is a nice one, and I can see my pack, and then like that being molly, I can hang it up in a tree and at least it's not going to go anywhere. I have a little LED torch, just because sometimes it's handy. Maybe my head torch is in my bag or in my pocket or whatever, so a little torch on the side just so I can turn it on and even give my work area just a bit of light. So we'll get into it. First off the bat is my tarp, and this is a brand new tarp I got from Bushcraft Denmark. This is something I've been looking at for quite some time because I believe in multi-use kit, and having a DD tarp is fantastic. A DD tarp has done me for years, nearly 5 years. I had the standard, the 4x4 and the ultralight, and I absolutely love the ultralight. And if you're starting off with a budget, that's where I would go. Stretch it to get yourself the ultralight tarp. They're absolutely fantastic. This, however, in its very sexy purple case, thank you Jesper, is a War Bonnet. It's a War Bonnet Superfly. And the reason why I went for this is because I've also started the hammock camp, trying to stretch it out into the winter time. Normally it was just a day hike thing for me. So it made sense that when I had a bit of cash and I saved up and you know, talked to Jesper and he had these back in stock, that this was nice. It's just as light as the ultralight, but it just has some features like if I might try and roll in a stock image up here in the corner, but it has features like built-in flaps, so I don't have to worry about setting up configurations. I can just put it up and make it like a full 360-degree wind tunnel for when I'm out for a day. And again, it's really light. And then also when I make the change to my hammock setup, it does me perfectly for my Lesavik hammock setup or my knapsack hammock setup, which I absolutely love for my light hikes. So you can see it's just still nylon, and I won't take it out. Like I said, hopefully I find, if you're watching this and there's no stock image, I didn't find one, but it's got nice plastic grommets and tie-outs. You can buy a set of spreader bars, or you can take an old set of tent poles and make yourself your own set of spreader bars. And then besides like the DD, which stays straight, you can add the spreader bars, which are nothing at all. They weigh nothing at all, and it'll open up the tarp like that and give you more headspace. It's just a more comfortable option. If you're doing it a bit more hardcore, I'd recommend looking at it. Bushcraft Boutique and stock it, and they're stocked widely across America. Next up then is this, and I'm saying the name of the products because I always get asked. Normally I just plow through these videos, but this is Journeyman Handcrafts, a really cool guy called Brian Shrubshaw, and he makes these little pouches, and they're super affordable, super durable. Again, I always like to have high visibility on my stuff, so I just put some orange thing on it, and I will put a little glow tag on here again because I bought like 7 packets, so everybody will have glow tags on it. These are the little ultralight carabiners that come with the War Bonnet tarp, and I'm really enjoying them. I prefer the robust ones, like the DDMs. They're a great one. I've been using them for a very long time, but I really enjoyed these. They've just shaved those extra grams off my tarp setup, and they do for the Prusik knots and setting it up. So I keep them on here just so I don't lose them, because I have my, and that's very important to get out and practice even on day hikes, so you can fine tune and take the bad parts out of your day setup, in the sense of, well, my tarp is going to come out first, my ridgeline is going to come out, or my ridgeline is going to come out first, my tarp is going to come out, whatever way you work it, because then everything is easy and you know where everything is. This is his tent peg pouch, but at the end of the day, you got to give something a name, but it's a pouch, so you can use it for whatever you want, but I actually genuinely use it for tent pegs and cordage. So you can see there, I just have a mixture of random tent pegs because I'm forever losing them or giving them to students, or, you know, I put them in the ground, and like you can see here, all the sphagnum moss behind me, sometimes they don't come back out of the ground, they just go to that special place where all the socks in your tumble dryer go to live. I got some spare hanks of cordage for Prusik knots, some bank line, nothing special. But that is my second thing out that I take out, or one of the first things that I take out, depending on the situation, is my tent peg bag, and that is from Journeyman Handcrafts, if anybody's looking. Then there's the quick deploy ridgeline. Normally I would keep my 2 carabiners on here and keep it all together, but I originally taught a very large class in Sweden for a brilliant group of people called the Nature Sisters, and there was 25 and towards the end more than that on the course. And I have that tendency that, like, if I'll just give people, or I'll leave people, or students can have it and they can take it with them when they go, it's only paracord. So I just have this new one. This is a new one that I just put in my backpack, so it still needs some Prusiks and some knots, but nothing I can't do on the fly. But a quick deploy ridgeline, hundreds of videos of them everywhere. One of the staples that I teach at classes, and it's a great one to have, even in the pocket. Then what I have in my shelter system, I think is often overlooked, but you can't beat a good hat. You really can't. I often find that it's the thing I've started to forget the most in my journals. I'd come out and I get into my hammock and I'm like, oh, my head's cold. Why don't I have my hat with me? Because I'm trying to remember so much stuff. You're doing a paranoia check. So I just removed that from the equation and I put my hat in my shelter system. Technically it's part of it, so in the rules. And the hats that I keep in these ones are the Klima hats. You can see them here. And the reason why I do is because they're super warm. This one here is a super yellow beanie and it's unbelievably thick. Even the boniest finger of accusation can poke you in the head and you wouldn't feel it. These are a more lighter option. They wouldn't be as warm, but they are very warm and they're very packable and they weigh next to nothing. They're a nice gauge of wool, so I'd have a look at that. We gave some of these out at the last class for this reason. We let people build their own shelter systems, so thank you Klima for that. They sent us some, but I keep a beanie in there, whatever beanie it may be, but just a hat, something for the head, because I'm always forgetting it. Then next out is, again, I've dropped some things, part of the shelter system. Again, if I have to sleep out, I want to protect the core temperature. That's what everything should be at the end of the day in your shelter system, is about maintaining your core temperature. So I just have this cowl, again from a Klima, and the reason why I choose a Klima is bar the fact that for this particular purpose, there is many layers, but the reason why I choose a Klima for this particular thing is because the quality, they're ecological and all that great stuff. They tick every box in regards to that, but they're also for weight to warmth. Things like this and the So Betsy Hunter's Cowl will always be a little bit warmer on their own as an individual piece, but weight to warmth ratio, the Klima kind of really have it nailed. They really do, and durability. So I just keep that cowl in there, and you can see I can set my tarp up, I can put my bed on the ground, my browse bed, I can get in with my clothes because I've chosen them correctly before I left the house, and then I can put my cowl on and my hat on and get in and try and be toasty. So that's that takes care of the upper part. Then what dropped on the ground is what takes care of the lower part. I always carry my gloves on my bag, my crude ones, and thank you to Crude for sending me a new pair. My last pair went rogue. But then I have a set of pulse warmers. I never really gave pulse warmers a chance, but then I was talking to Lars Thompson from Friluftsland and Tor Anderson from Odex. I got you, Tor. I got you, brother. And they started telling me that pulse warmers make a huge difference, make a monumental difference. But the reason why most people wouldn't believe it is because putting pulse warmers on by themselves don't really do anything. It's like standing with a t-shirt off but putting a scarf on and expecting the scarf to keep you warm. So then I started to trial pulse warmers with a layering system, and they made a monumental difference. So I can put my pulse warmers on, and even now in my base layers, I'm starting to search out base layers that have pulse warmers built into them. Really taking pulse warmers, so I can put these on over the top, and all of a sudden I'm starting to build up a layer on my hand, pull on a nice set of gloves. Job's a good one. And again, weight, it's a Klima, and a Klima for weight to warmth is what wins it for me. As you can see, cowl, hat and pulse warmers still all fit in this pouch. And then the last bit, nothing left on the inside. I don't know why YouTubers have to do that to prove that we're not sharing anything, is a sleep mask. Again, it's a luxury item, weighs nothing. It's nice to be able anything that helps you get a good sleep. This is my Lesovic gear hammock. It's made out of I wouldn't say monosil, but a really ultralight sil nylon, and it's got these really cool attachment points of these tiny little hooks, and these little hooks fit perfectly onto a paracord ridgeline. They fit perfectly onto a heavy gauge, maybe number 36 bank line. You can see that the way they're designed there, that it sits in and goes into this gap, so you don't need carabiners, especially if you're using a 550 paracord, which is nice because it's a weight saving measure from the hammock world, which I think is absolutely brilliant. So I'm able to clip this on like so. Say I pull it out, clip it onto my ridgeline, and then I'm able to just, with this system here, pull it down. And I have videos on the Living to Learn community about how I set this up, and this is just a complete comfort item. It weighs, I mean, it's negligible how much it weighs. It's like a baby wipe, weighs about as much as a baby wipe. It's there, and it's pretty big. So when I set my A-frame shelter up, I'm able to put this underneath, clip it up, pull it really tight. I don't even have to get out. I can do it all from underneath my tarp. And then I just have a space for my gear, to keep my gear up off the ground, especially if I'm staying in a browse bed or a very minimalist bed and the ground is already wet. I find that it's most annoying to keep stuff in the bag, especially when it's just stuff like your head torch and everything else. So having this little gear shelf was just perfect. It was just a nice little luxury item. Don't forget about morale. You know, if things are hitting the fan, which is what we kind of all tend to lean back on in a hyperbolic situation, those little creature comforts, an eye mask, a hat, a scarf, a gear hammock, things like that make a huge difference, because then I'm just able to lie there. My gear's out of the night, it's out of the wet, it's out of the damp, it's out of the dry. I don't have to take everything out of my bag, but at least I don't have to keep going in and out of my bag. I can just reach up and take my head torch down and put my head torch up, or whatever. My bottle of water. These are pretty strong. So there you go, Willie, my man, and anybody who was asking me before, because I've had a few questions on this, what I carry in that medium pouch. I just never got into it because it just wasn't something that I felt needed to be delved into. I had kind of other things to get into, so I apologize to those who asked me questions. And that is the Savoda medium pouch. You can check out the dimensions online. I don't know them off the top of my head, but that's there, and all that stuff fits in it. Probably weighs a couple of pounds, the heaviest part being the tent pegs. I know you can make them off the land, but sometimes when it's raining and windy and cold, you just want to get a tent peg into the ground. But the tent pegs would be the single heaviest component out of the whole thing. So if you can find a way to shave that down for you, great. It doesn't have to be these products, just a little talk about the mentality behind why I carry what I do in that shelter system. So I hope everybody has a great day. I know it's a 15-minute video. I hope you had a cup of tea and chilled out, and this gave you some ideas moving forward in these strange times. But look after the head, look after the hands, stay safe, and I'll see you in the woods. Peace.